Hello and welcome to Evil's channel. I'm going to be looking at generating mana for Botania today. One thing that I'm doing with a friend of mine called Rake is we're working on a mod called Botania. This is a bit of a crazy mod. It needs tons of resources. One of the main parts of the crafting is this thing here called the Infinity Catalyst, which needs all these things here, and some of them are mental. To make the lapis singularity you need 14,000 blocks of lapis, for instance. Isn't that mad? And you need those to craft any of the weapons and tools. Infinity Ingots, Infinity Catalyst, we need to make a ton of these things. Now the thing I'm going to be looking at really today is making Terra Steel. This is from the Botania mod. All of these items here are just totally top end for each of the mods that they come from. They're the hardest things to produce for each mod. For instance, the Minecraft basic one is a block of emerald. The one for thermal foundation is an Endurium block. But what we're going to be doing is making Terra Steel today. Now, to start it off with, we're going to need some mana. Everything on Botania runs on mana. Botania presents itself largely as a magic mod, but it's really a technical mod. And the way that you generate mana is that you have these flowers called generating flowers. There are a whole bunch of different ones. This is the Ender Flame. The Ender Flame has some nice benefits. It will help us use up the thousands of blocks of coal that we've used. It works like a furnace. You drop a block of coal or any kind of furnace friendly material onto it. It will gobble that up. Oops. It will gobble that up after a few seconds. Go on, do it. Well, when it notices it's there, it will pick it up and start burning. Maybe it needs somewhere for the energy to go first of all. Maybe it needs a mana pool. Mana pools are the batteries, as it were, from Botania. They store the energy, the mana, and you connect them together with the generating plants using this thing called a mana spreader. Plonk that there. Oh, I don't know if I really want. I'm just going to move that back an extra block. There we go. And we use the Wander the Forest in bind mode. If you see that, you can switch it between modes by shift clicking, function mode, bind mode, and then you shift click the first item, you get a highlight on it, and then click the second item. Right now it's got a connection, it's just eaten the coal, and now the mana spreader is receiving mana. As we can see, it's slowly going up and then being forwarded onto the mana pool here. Now this is all well and good. Now the problem with Botania is it requires a lot of mana, and producing a lot of mana is kind of tricky. You either got to stand here throwing coal blocks into the Ender Flame occasionally. It takes about, I don't know, 6.5 minutes to eat a coal block. So we need some kind of timer, really. I'm not going to stand here throwing coal in here all night long. So I wanna drop stuff onto it, and luckily Botania comes up with a solution to that. You get the open crate. Now what does the open crate do? The open crate is an open bottom crate. If you put an item into the crate, it will drop on the floor. Okay, so that solves the first problem that we have, which is actually just dropping stuff onto the Ender Flame. I just knock these out here so it looks nice and neat. We're going to supply it using an item conduit from Ender.io. Just stick that on the side there. You can set this to input, insert. There you go, you see the little arrows change direction to show you it's going into the crate. We need to have a supply of blocks. Okay, we're going to use these little mini crates here. The only thing that's ever going to go in here is blocks of coal. So we're just going to open that chest up, put in a stack of blocks of coal. Let's put that one in there too. And then we're going to activate the extraction. As you can see, there's a little redstone marker here, active with signal. We have no signal, so let's just set that to always active. Oh, this is no good. This is no good at all. Okay, it's just throwing all of my coal onto the ender flame. But the ender flame's full, so we better pick that up. Okay, so we need some kind of control in here, basically, by the looks of things. Now it takes the ender flame maybe 6.5 minutes to consume a block of coal. So we clearly need some kind of timer on there. That's red. We can achieve this actually with the item conduit here. We can give it a signal every, I don't know, minute, 6.5 minutes to make it drop what we want it to drop. So we need a timer. We probably need some redstone as well. And the second thing is, this pool, when it's full up, it's not going to take any more mana in. So we probably want to stop dropping coal on top of there if the mana pool is full. So we've got two conditions we need to satisfy there. When the mana pool is full, drop coal every 6.5 minutes. So that sounds like a job for logic. One mod that's really good at logic is ProjectRed Integration. We're going to use a bunch of gates here from ProjectRed to control our system. And the first one I'm going to use is going to be the comparator. Now, a little known fact that you can find if you read the Botania manual, here it is that the mana pool actually outputs a redstone signal depending on how full it is. So you can measure that signal, and if the redstone, if the mana pool is full, you can take the redstone signal from that and turn the whole system off. Sounds like a cool thing to me. And the output from here is a analog redstone signal, so it has a value between 1 and 16 depending on how full the pool is, but I'm only really interested if the pool is full, so I'm going to use a comparator. When you place the comparator down, you'll notice when you're looking at it, it's got these little labels here to tell you what's going on. So we want to take the output of this redstone comparator when the pool is full. So when the pool is full, it outputs a signal of 15, counting from 0 through to 15, which gives you 16 values. And in Minecraft, something that gives you a redstone signal of 15 is the redstone torch. So if we compare the value that's being output from the mana pool with the value of a redstone torch, we should get a signal out of it telling us when it's full. So at the moment, our mana pool isn't full. It'll be full shortly because it's only a little mana pool, and we can wait a little bit for that to happen. We're almost there. But the moment that this little mana pool fills up, we should see this piece of wire light up as the value of the mana pool is equal to the value of the redstone torch. We're almost there. We'll just wait a few more seconds. Now, a problem with this is that at the moment there's no signal, and it's full. There we go, there the signal is on. So we know this works. We can test it with a mana tablet. I can use the Wand of the Forest to switch the mode on the mana pool. If you look just underneath the mana bar, you'll see that it's transferring from mana tablets, I've got one on my hotbar, to the pool. But if we shift click it, now it's doing the opposite. So if I drop a mana tablet into it, we should see it takes all of the mana out, and that the cable on the right hand side of my screen will turn off. Let's do that. There we go. That's lovely, so we know it works. Let's just test that again. Let's get it to fill from mana tablet. So if I drop my mana tablet in now, the pool will fill from the tablet and it turns on. So that's great. We know when the mana pool is full. Now there is a little bit of a problem here because our conduit only has active with signal. Now the way this is, when the mana pool is full, it's giving out a signal, which is wrong. We don't want that. So we need to invert that signal so that it outputs a signal when it is not full, and for that we're going to use a NOT gate. There we go, I've already got one ready. Let's knock out this cable and replace it with a NOT gate, and we'll put a piece of cable on the end so we can see what's going on. So now we can see there's no signal when the mana pool is full, and if we empty the mana pool using our tablet, we should see that cable light up to show us that that's the case. So let's empty the mana pool and see what happens. Yeah, okay. So the mana pool is partially filled now. It still wants more, so the signal is on. This is great. So we know now, and we have a redstone signal telling us when the mana pool requires mana, and it gives us a redstone signal. Okay, well the next part of this is the timer. We've got to keep this thing fed once every 6.5 minutes. So we need a timer as well. So let's build it, I think, over here a little bit. Now I've got a timer. There's some subtleties here that we've got to deal with. It's all very well slamming down the timer, but if we look, the timer gives us a very short signal. Well, it does when the server isn't saving. There we go. You see it's just flashing on for a brief second there. That signal is not long enough for our conduit to actually catch it. So we're going to make that signal a little bit longer, and we're going to do that using something called a state cell. And the state cell, basically, if it's been triggered by a redstone signal, we'll go on for a second. And give us a longer pulse. So we've got the timer triggering it. It's going a bit too fast. Let's slow this down a bit to once every 5 seconds so we can see this. So there's the signal, and then we get an output for about a second or so on just here. I'll make that clearer if I put down some red alloy wiring. There we go. Okay, so we've got a timer signal to turn that on and off, and we've got a measurement of how full our mana pool is. So it's looking good. What I really want to do now is I want to combine those two signals together, so when both of them are true, we finally get pulses coming through to here and dropping our coal blocks onto our ender flame. I'm not sure I've left enough space here, I'll be honest. Let's see what we can do. So we're going to use something called an AND gate now, and I think, will that work? No, that's too close to that other one, so it's picking up the signal from. We don't want that. I'm just going to move these two out a little bit further so they don't interfere. You can probably make this a lot neater. In fact, we can do something a bit neater. We take our AND gate where we're going to combine the two signals, and we just stick it there. And then if I take my timer, good, so its output's facing in the right direction, and then I take my state cell and put it down there. Okay, let's adjust the timing on this again so it's going every 5 seconds. Okay. Right, so we've got the signal coming here from our mana pool, and we've got the signal coming here from our timer. We need to combine them together now. One of the issues with the AND is that it requires 3 signals. It looks like it's got 3 redstone torches on it, but this is not quite true. We get the electric screwdriver, we can actually click on here, so it only needs 2 inputs. Okay. Is that outputting correctly? I'm not sure it is. It's still flicking on for just a tiny time. Let's make, oops, I've turned it around now. So let's go into the interface and set it to a shorter time. We only want it on for like maybe half a second. because that's how long it takes for the conduit to notice that something's going on. I seem to have the timer on the wrong side, so we'll take the timer and we're going to put it on this side here. Hopefully, if I look at this. Oh, hang on a second. I am doing this live, so it's kind of... That's 5 seconds on here. Whoops. Not quite sure why that output is just flashing there. I'm going to rotate this round one and move this. You are kind of tied to which direction these things want their inputs and outputs, and unfortunately they're not completely configurable. Let's see how that goes. Okay, now I want to turn off this third signal on here, and that is done by shift clicking. There we go. Okay, so you can now see the timer is making a quick pulse every 5 seconds, and then we're getting a longer pulse from the state cell. So it's going on for about half a second each time the timer comes on. So it's looking like we've got a usable signal here now. And that's the logic resolved. So we now are measuring both the two conditions, the timing condition and the filling condition here. So what we need to do now is connect up that to our conduit. I'm going to use these thing here, redstone conduits, and they're quite neat. All of the conduits can occupy the same block, so if I go like that and that, you can see I've actually now got the item conduit going this way, but I've also got the redstone conduit touching on this block here. Now we've got no signal coming in, so let's come over and we want to take that signal all the way over. Just a bit floating up in the air. A couple more blocks. Oh, I don't think I've got enough, have I? I'm going to need to make some more. Let's go into the factory to my ME system. I'll make a couple more of those redstone conduits. So hopefully I've got the materials. Yep, I've got some of this redstone alloy. Let's take this over to my generation area. Just fill that in. And one more there. Oops. Okay, so when the conduit lights up, it's getting the signal. It's looking good. Okay, so now let's see how this works out. So if we've now put our block of coal in here, about every 5 seconds it should drop a block of coal onto the endo flame. Have I given this the right redstone signal thing? Active with signal. Oh, there it goes. It just took a bit of a while to catch up. Oh, but it's dropping too many? And the timing is good. The ender flame is getting it, but we're dropping way too much. Yeah, I know the timing's off. We're going to change that at the end once we're sure this all works. We're just having it on 5 seconds so we don't have to wait 6.5 minutes to test each cycle. Now what's nice is that the conduits, they usually pump out 4 items every time they're pulsed. But we only want 1 item, so we have this thing here called an item conduit speed downgrade. We put that in there. Now it's only going to drop 1 each time it's signaled. This is looking really good now. This is looking almost perfect. So every 5 seconds it's dropping a single lump of coal on here. Oh, are we out of coal? Let's refill our buffer. It's got a few left. So I'm reasonably happy about that now. Let's just give it another test to make sure it actually stops when it should do. I'm going to reset the mode on here. So now it's taking mana from tablets, drop a tablet in there, and that should stop the coal from dropping down. As you can see, when the timer hits the end, no signals coming through because the mana pool's full. So that's pretty much working. I'm pretty happy about that. We're not wasting loads of coal by just dropping it all the time onto the ender flame. So let's just go over that one more time. We're using the comparator to measure the level of mana in the mana pool, and we're comparing it with the value of a redstone torch, which is a full value. So when the pool is full, we get a signal output. We're then using the NOT gate to invert that signal so that it only comes on when the mana pool is empty. Let's just take this out again and drop that in there just to prove our theory. Okay, so now we're getting a signal now the mana pool is empty. Then we're using the timer, which we're now going to set up to 6.5 minutes, which I think is something like 390 seconds. Yeah, it's 390 seconds. So we set that to 390 seconds. And that will only go off every 6.5 minutes, so that'll be when the ender flame is ready to take some more. And then that goes into the state cell, which gives us a slightly longer pulse, which the conduit over there will recognize. And then we're combining those two signals together in an AND gate where we've turned off the third input. So it only needs two inputs. So when this input and this input are both on, we will get a signal through here. And then because our flange is configured to only operate when we have a redstone signal, it will turn on, and because we have an item conduit speed downgrade, it will drop a single item on top of our ender flame. I think that's pretty much perfect. The only thing I really need to do is supply more coal. I mean, I don't want to come and put coal in here every time it needs it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly pop a hole through the wall here and get some coal from my ME system. Hopefully that's in the right place. Yep. For this I'm going to use an ME export bus. Now this guy, you can specify what you want him to take out of my ME system, which is like my big storage system. So I'm going to give him a little example there that I want him to drop coal into the chest. Now the thing is, with this, it would just keep on exporting forever until he'd taken all of the coal out of my system, which is why I've got the buffer here. It's just big enough to take a single stack of coal, so once that's full up, this thing will stop exporting and the rest of my coal is safe inside my ME system. So now we've got that sorted, all that remains to do is to connect up my export with these cables here into my ME system. Let's take it from here, I think. Now I'm going to use some smart cable here. Smart cable is nice because my ME system has something called channels. And there's only a limited number of channels for controlling or exporting or importing items. So I want to make sure that I know how many channels are currently in use. And the smart cable lights up nicely like this to tell me how many channels are in use. So for instance, this one has 6 of 8 channels used. We go around here, this one has 8 of 8, so all of the stripes are lit up. And then we just pull that over here, and then whenever that little micro chest needs some more coal, it will be able to get it. Because these are orange cables, they're not going to join up with the red cables at all. That keeps things nice and separate. It's not a brilliant wiring job, but I don't like having cables on the floor. And then if we come over here, this has gone orange just here on the collar to show us it works. And hopefully we should see, yep, the coal's slowly filling up. And when we hit 64, it's just going to sit there. So now we should be able to go away and leave that to do its thing. Now this mana pool's a bit small. I picked the diluted one because it's very fast to fill up and it makes testing easy. But realistically I want to use the big mana pool which holds like 100 times more than this. So I'm going to quickly drain this guy out again with my mana tablet so we don't waste any of our precious mana. Knock him down, and I've got a bigger mana pool in here. I'm just going to replace that with, and this is still going to fill up at some point, especially if I throw my mana tablet in there just to get rid of it, because I don't really need this on me. Let's get that in there. He's just going to transfer his mana in there. See it slowly going up. What you can do after this then is you can make a stack of mana pools, like a big battery on top of this one, and then make this mana pool transfer up the stack of mana pools on top. You need something called a spark for that, but that means that as long as this mana pool has the comparator on it, the whole system will be controlled by the state of this mana pool and how full it is. So even if you have 100 mana pools going up, they're all being fed by this bottom one. Once they're all full up, this one will fill up and then it will shut the system down. So you've got a really nice sort of control there to make sure that everything's being generated at the correct speed. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's made sense. If you have any questions, do ask in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll do more of these sort of high-tech solutions for Minecraft, for Feed the Beast. And you can make more complicated systems with my help. These things here, by the way, they all represent real-life logic circuits that exist inside your PC. You can even buy these as little discrete integrated circuit packages. So using the ProjectRed Integration stuff is really a good way to learn about how logic works that would be applicable in real-life situations. So anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.